Good evening, this is Eswatini TV News at 8, read to you by myself, Notile Sitole, alongside Nomakabizo Nkambule. First up, let's have a look at our headlining stories. Civil registration and vital statistics is key for the country's development aspirations. The Central Statistics Office will soon launch a civil registration and vital statistics strategy that will allow smooth operation for all stakeholders in the civil registration space. The Eswatini Action Group Against Abuse will continue to lead campaigns that seek to encourage the participation of women in leadership positions in the country. And now the news in detail. Civil registration and vital statistics is key to the country's development, from national identity cards to birth and death certificates. This was said by the Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe Dlamini, or rather during the commemoration of the Africa Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day on Tuesday. The minister was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry, Nhlanhla Nxumalo.
The African Civil Registration and Vital Statistics Day was established in 2018 by the African Union to further educate nations on the importance of civil registration. Since then, the day is commemorated every year on the 10th of August. On Tuesday, the Kingdom of Eswatini joined other African countries and celebrated the day at the Happy Valley Hotel. The Minister of Home Affairs, Princess Lindiwe, says every Eswatini must be registered to help the government in service delivery, more especially in health and education. The Minister was represented by the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Nhlanhla Nxumalo.
In view of the impacts of emergencies such as the COVID-19 pandemic, it has become imperative to examine the role of civil registration and vital statistics that it can play in providing real-time information for monitoring and mitigating the impact of the disaster. We have learned that emergencies like the current COVID-19 pandemic are disruptive to the provision of civil registration services.
Nulwazi Dlamini from the Central Statistical Office gives highlights on how COVID-19 has impacted on civil registration.
In terms of birth registration, starting from 2017, there was an increase in the number of births that are registered. However, there's a pronounced decline in 2020, which can likely be attributed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Registration. There was an increase in death registration in 2020 compared to 2019, as well as an increase in completeness from 53% to 55%.
The Minister, through the PS, then officially launched the annual Vital Statistic Report of 2020. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samgal Suekoza with Fuminko Sinzinisa at Zulwini.
The Central Statistical Office will soon create a civil registration and vital statistics strategy that will see collaboration of civil registration stakeholders. CSO Director Eswatini says this strategy will work as a tool to improve public management.
Civil registration is defined by the UN Statistical Commission as the continuous, permanent and universal recording of occurrence and characteristics of vital events. Speaking during the commemoration of the African Civil Registration and Statistics Day, Eswatini, the Director of Central Statistical Office, says to further improve civil registration in the Kingdom of Eswatini, the office, together with other stakeholders, will soon create a civil registration and vital statistics strategy.
We will be coming up with a CRVS strategy. In this strategy, we hope for stakeholders to be able to identify themselves and their responsibilities. Implementing partners with an interest in CRVS will also be able to identify their activities and support units accordingly.
Joining the commemoration virtually, World Health Organization Eswatini Head Office Cornelia Atsu says civil registration is key to assessing the socio-economic and demographic dynamics of a population.
Vital statistics on births, deaths and causes of deaths are fundamental demographic and epidemiological measures needed in national planning across many such sectors such as health, education, housing, and provision of social services.
The country's annual vital statistics report indicates that the country recorded 21,481 births and 5,830 deaths in 12 healthcare centers in 2020. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Suyokoza with Vuminko Sinzinisa at Zulwini.
Eswatini Action Group Against Abuse organization, in partnership with a number of organizations, is expected to continue implementing a program that seeks to improve gender equality and participation of women in leadership positions to 2 regions in the country. According to SWAGA's director, Nonhlanhla Dlamini, women need support so that they develop the courage to lead, while men need to be educated on how they can support such a vision. Dlamini was speaking during a breakfast meeting with relevant stakeholders held in Babane.
The women's right making inroads towards gender equality, participation and equal representation in Eswatini is a project implemented by a number of organizations, which includes Women in Law, Kwakain Voltaswaka and other organizations. The program will be implemented in Manzini and the Lubombo region. The SWAGA's director, Nonhlanhla Dlamini, says the media is doing an impressive job in providing gender-based violence awareness. Dlamini says there is still more that needs to be done.
When you have taken photographs of this person, particularly when the person has agreed, make sure you cover the person's face. Make sure you use a pseudonym. If it's in the electronic cover the face of the person, or even alter the voice of the person. We've seen that happening. And again, like Thomas said, we appreciate the changes that we are seeing happening. We've seen children's stories being published. Some of them would actually be picked from the social media. They would be bare, but when they come out of the print media, the face is covered, and we really appreciate that.
The director for Kwakain Voter organization, Tom Churchyard, says people still need to be educated on the Sexual Offences and Domestic Violence Act.
Despite new technologies, colleagues, the newspaper, the print medias was still the #1 way that people said that they consumed knowledge about the SODVA and formed their opinion from it. And so we still play, as print media especially, but as all media, a very important role in the dissemination of this new and very comprehensive legal protection.
The project started in March last year and is expected to end in March 2022. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangen with Muzim Konda in Babane.
The negative effects of climate change call for farmers to improve climate-smart agriculture in order to curb food insecurity. The Director of Agriculture, Nelson Mavuso, says the country's biggest contributor is unmonitored fires, as well as farming practices that harm the environment.
On Monday, the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change released a report on the negative effects of climate change. On the report, economies were given a task to start projects that will mitigate the impacts of climate change. In Eswatini, the Director of Agriculture, Nelson Mavuso, says the biggest contributor is unmonitored fires and agriculture practices that destroys the environment.
As the Minister of Agriculture was saying that let's do all we can to minimize the effects, that the contributions that we have in terms of degrading the environment that we live in. Reduce the amount of burning that we use. When necessary, don't burn, but use that as compost for your land. We are preaching climate-smart agriculture practices for our farmers. Reduce the indiscriminate use of pesticides. Reduce the amount of thresh that you throw around and end up burning. And also, when we are actually doing your land tilling, use the minimum tillage principles that will enable your soils to remain covered, your soils to be burn a few liters of the fossil fuels in order to achieve the same results. One of the things that actually make our situation worse is burning at the wrong period of time, like now. If you burn grass right now, and at the beginning of the season we have heavy rains, there will be a lot of erosion that will take place.
The director says Emaswati must educate themselves on the proper technologies of climate-smart agriculture to avoid the loss of money. He made an example of tunnel farming, that plastic tunnel farming does not suit every condition, but only cold areas because there is added heat, which can be a danger to the plants. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I am Samkel Suyokoza with Vuminko Sinzinisa in Babane.
France and Iceland are among 7 destinations added on Monday to the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention's highest risk category for travel. Travel should be avoided to locations carrying the level 4 COVID-19 very high notice, according to the CDC guidance. Anyone who must travel should be fully vaccinated first. The 7 destinations added to the level 4 list on August 9 are Aruba, Eswatini, France, French Polynesia, Iceland, Israel, and Thailand. In its wider travel guidance, the CDC recommends against all international travel until you are fully vaccinated. Destinations that fall into the very high risk category have had more than 500 cases per 100,000 residents in the past 28 days, according to CDC parameters. In France, COVID-19 health passes came into effect on Monday. Proof of vaccination or a negative COVID-19 test is now required to enter establishments including bars, restaurants, cinemas, and transport hubs. The CDC maintains an evolving list of travel notices from level 1 low to level 4 very high. Last week, the agency added 16 destinations to its very high risk category, including Greece, Ireland, and the US Virgin Islands. Bermuda, Dominica, Hungary, and Poland were among the level 1 COVID-19 low destinations as of August 9. Church leaders from different formations have taken the COVID-19 jab. Speaking during the vaccination exercise, Begindlela Magongo, representing all the religious organizations, has encouraged the Christian fraternity to vaccinate against COVID-19.
The government of Eswatini continues with the vaccination exercise for different sectors. Church leaders from different formations have taken the vaccine. Begindlela Magongo, speaking on behalf of all the religious organizations in the country, says there is no harm in taking the vaccine. Magongo expressed gratitude to the government of Eswatini for providing the vaccine and also to facilitate the vaccination exercise through the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Sekaba ke ukukhuthata kakhulu emasonweni kubazalwane nabo bonke nje ke baholi lokho ukuthi lokujova kufanele sikwende ukuze site ukuphepha akusho ke ukuthi nasesijovile sefuna siphila impilo noma kanjani funa siqhubeke siyilandzele yonke lemigomo elitiko letempilo ukuze lesive siphephe siyakholela kakhulu ukuthi kuphepha kwabaholi kuphepha kwabazalwane kuphepha kwalesive semaswati ngawo ke siyakhuthata ukuthi wonke nalifika lelithuba asambeni sojova ude lokubi nekujova.
The principal secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Simon Zwane, says it is government's wish to vaccinate all sectors. Zwane encourages Amaswati to continue wearing masks and to sanitize.
Singathanda silidiko ukugcizelela ukuthi lokujova kubalekile kakhulu. Siyasikhuthaza sive ukuthi asichubeke nje manje siphumile donke tinkhalo telive kusita sive semaswati ukuthi sikhona ukujova. No, akusho ukuthi bese asalo sikuyekela lo lokubalekile lesikwendawo ukugeza tandla kokucelelana nekusebenzisa tifonyo.
According to the daily COVID-19 report provided by the Ministry of Health, over 50,000 people have taken the vaccine. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, pictures sourced from the government website.
A maize farmer based in Stunusa donated 10 bags of maize to Philan Maswati charity organization. Ndumiso Mkhalipi says after observing the effects of COVID-19, he saw a great need to donate maize to the elderly in order for them to have enough food.
The Philani Maswati charity organization received 10 bags of maize from a local farmer based in Sikunusa. Ndumiso Mkhalipi says elderly people need to be taken care of, especially now that the country is faced with the challenges such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Mkhalipi says elderly people should be provided with all their needs. Mkhalipi says he decided to assist his community by donating to Philan Maswati charity organization.
Sibone kumqoka kakhulu ukuthi sinikele kuba kaPhilani Maswati ngoba sibone kuyinto lenhle kakhulu nekuthi ke kusitakale labantu labadzala labangibona bacizwe ngiyo indlovukazi sisaseke sesithi hayi ngoba umsebenzi lesiwendako nathi kungasijabulisa ukuthi sente into lenhle emangweni sasesithi no asingcono naloku siphose sivivanene ngoba kuyinto lenhle kakhulu.
Philani Maswati Charity Organization's chairperson Lutfo Dlamini sent his gratitude to the farmer and encouraged Maswati to assist the organization through donations. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni in Babane.
And now we'll have an ad break and the news will be back shortly.
Hi there, I'm Captain Keeper. As we prepare to go back to school on the 9th of August, in the middle of a deadly third wave, remember to be a keeper by protecting yourself and protecting everyone. Do all COVID protocols, wash your hands, wear your mask, watch your distance. You are Captain Keeper. Do your part to protect your family, friends, and the nation.
Kudla kwempilo, food for life. An agricultural program that shows how a farmer brings food to the nation.
Gcine kudla kwayo leta uphindze kudle nasekufika isikhathi sebusika.
Nalinile nje libele lana kuzone liyadwa imbela libele lahlanzeni so lonke linale mvula le moderate yethu sine lahlanzeni.
Kudla kusemhlabathini konke lesikudingako sitakuthola emhlabathini.
Kudla kwempilo for agriculture and farming development on Eswatini TV with the farm boy Samgelo Villarati Samvi. Kudla kwempilo, food for life.
Eye on SADC, telling the African story from an African perspective. This is the only news program bringing you news, views, and interviews straight from the countries where it happened. Join me in Ndishishi Hamfungu as I take you on a journey across Southern Africa. That's on Eye on SADC, news of SADC from SADC.
Welcome back. Before we proceed, let's have a look at our financial markets.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Good evening once again. You are still watching Eswatini TV. Let's have a look at our sports news. Eswatini Q Sports Association will this month and next month host the local championships for different regions of the country. According to the association's president, Muntu Dlamini, the championships will propel the association to formulate both men and women national team by October this year.
Eswatini Q Sports Association will soon begin local championships in different regions of the country, where the championships will assist in selecting the national teams, both men and women.
So nyalo lesitawukwenda each region itaba nema playoffs batokhetsa the top players satovumela.
The association's president Muntu Dlamini says all this will be in line with the association's strategy of ensuring that the country has national teams, both men and women, by October this year. Dlamini went on to highlight that they are also looking at options of introducing Women's League.
eliminate each other kutawuphuma ke lama squads lesikhuluma ngawo sitawuhlala nje sinayo squad ukuthi any point in time nakuthiwa kufuneka squad lesiside sinaso thina sen-Q Sport Eswatini.
He concluded assuring Shiselweni region that soon they will be electing a committee that will begin groundwork in developing the sport in the Shiselweni region. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mpabane.
The national under-20 athletics team captain Menzogule Msibi says the team's preparations for the upcoming World Junior Championship Games to be organized in Kenya this month are progressing well. Msibi says the support they have received from the Athletics Association gives them hope and confidence that they will return home with a medal.
The under-20 athletics national team is in hard training for the upcoming World Junior Championships to be held in Nairobi, Kenya in less than 2 weeks.
Feedback yami as a captain ngaba ukuthi i-teams ipreparile kahle kakhulu and
team captain Menzogule Msibi says the preparations that they've had as a team will with no doubt give them confidence heading into the game. Msibi says team coach, doctors and the association at large have played a major role in boosting their readiness,
including the doctorless providing association lestabe sambena Kenya usite kakhulu and we are grateful.
The 5 athletes of the team are Menzogule Msibi, who is the captain, Takona Skonze, Ayanda Malaza, Menzi Mbingo and Lihle Ginitsa. The games will begin on the 17th to the 22nd of this month this year. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mpabane.
That's all for now. Before we conclude, let's have a look at our top stories. Civil registration and vital statistics is key for the country's development aspirations. The Central Statistics Office will soon launch a civil registration and vital statistics strategy that will allow smooth operation for all stakeholders in the civil registration space. The Eswatini Action Group Against Abuse will continue to lead campaigns that seek to encourage the participation of women in leadership positions in the country. And with that, Eswatini, we sum up our bulletin for the evening. Up next is the weather update from myself and the crew at Eswatini TV. Thanks for watching. Good night.